All right. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining in. So now we will tackle challenge number 19 with an expert, Stuart Corr. And my apologies if Stuart. How do you pronounce your last name before I?
It's core. Yeah, you got it
Corr.
right.
Okay, good. So Dr. Corr, I like it. This challenge is around. So I'm going to share my screen here. And let's look at this one. So this challenge comes to us from our sponsor, We Manage, from TiE Global. And here we are looking to define solution for a 3D virtual walkthrough of a house, research and prepare a detailed report or a short list vendors to choose a solution for creating a tool that converts 2D architectural drawings into 3D virtual walkthroughs. So that's our challenge. That's what the sponsor has made available to us, is what they're looking to solve. And then let's jump down to the expected business solution for this one. We're looking at a solution can be found with a vendor that is willing to engage in detailed conversation leading up to a service or a purchase contract. The shortlist should have 4 to 5 solutions, but case of issues locating solutions, a minimum of 3 options is needed, and solutions can be sourced from any country uh, if the language of use is English. So they're really looking for some suggestions from the students to take this Saturday and Sunday during the hackathon process to craft some ideas around how they can convert a 2D into a 3D, and also make suggestions to the sponsor on the use of this technology. So to tell us more and kind of give us the guidance of what an expert would do, like what is it, how would an expert solve this challenge if they were looking at this? If they saw this problem set, what would the expert do? So to help us with that, Stuart Corr, Dr. Stuart Corr, will give us some insights. So Stuart, how are you?
Good, thanks, Ravi. Let me just jump straight into it here and give you guys an overview. If I'm just sharing my screen, I've created some slides here. If I can share my screen,
Absolutely. We'll make sure we can give you
there
the
we go.
share access there. There you
Okay,
go.
see my screen
Mhm.
there. And we're going to go off video because no point in seeing me. Conserve bandwidth, whatever that is. Okay, chap. So again, first of all, I wouldn't say I'm an expert in this by any means, but I have led multiple projects of different sources, etc. So I'd love to just give you kind of my impression on this. Just press the next button. Okay, so just myself first. My name's Stuart Corr, originally from Scotland, and these are the institutes and affiliations I've been affiliated with over the last, say, 10 years or so in the Texas Med Center. I'm currently based at Houston Methodist in the Department of Cardiovascular Surgery in the Heart and Vascular Center. And my role as innovation systems engineer is to launch new projects. So again, what we're looking at today is kind of like similar to what we're doing, whereby we get given a list of requirements and then we go out and actually come up with a solution. So one of the things which is very applicable to this, is our Mighty XR program. Now, Mighty is the Methodist Institute for Technology, Innovation and Education, or Mighty as we call it. And our extended reality program is a brand new initiative which we just launched, which brings together virtual, augmented and extended reality applications into the area of healthcare and surgical training and education. You may be more familiar with the Oculus Quest 2.0. So this system got launched last October by Facebook. The word Oculus were bought out by Facebook. And this is a game changer. This is the cheapest VR standalone headset that you can buy, $299 and you're in. You don't need to be tethered. You don't need a PC. You don't need base stations. All you need is a Wi-Fi connection. So I'd highly recommend looking into that. We also have the Vario XR3 system, which is more of a mixed reality application offering VR and XR capabilities. And again, we looked at HoloLens 2.0 as well, which we're using for surgical pre and intraoperative planning. So where does this all fit in? Well, let's have a look at the project. So Ravi gave a brief overview of what it is, so I don't need to go into it in too much detail, but we have the title there, we have the description, and again, we have a little bit more detail, expected business solution. These are in your files. But let's just have a quick look at using kind of pictures as a means. So .dwg file, right? This is a digitally created file, okay? You would use the likes of, say, AutoCAD or SolidWorks to create this file. And it's essentially either a 2D, like you create a 2D drawing. This looks like a house plan or a floor plan of somewhere. And you can also then convert that and build that out into 3D files. Now, if you look here, these aren't actually rendered files. Now, rendering is when you basically take the skeletal form, architecture form of something and put it into something like here, which actually looks like something in real life, okay? So the overview here is they want to be able to use their generated 2D, 3D.dwg files, stick it in a piece of software somewhere, which then renders a 3D rendering of those files with the ability that the user can walk through and feel like they're actually immersed in that environment. I do have a wee video after this, but before I go there, the two main requirements they want are the view changes as the user moves. It's not clear whether it's the view changes as the user moves a cursor, for example, or a joystick, or whether it's they move the iPad or iPhone. And the final requirement is no camera footage, okay? So it's DWG only. You may have seen, I believe they're called Matterport scans. This is when you go around a house or a building and take a bunch of pictures with your phone at different locations, and the software will merge that into a kind of walkthrough file. That's not what they're wanting here. They're wanting to be able to use the DWGs as the source files. Now, the first thing I've done, and they actually asked you to do it, was just go and look for a 3D walkthrough kind of example. And I found an actual piece of software here. So let's have a look at this. There you go. So I think this is a nice example to start off with. This is an all-in-one system. So if you remember at the very beginning here, they were using their software to actually create the kind of 2D and the layout, the 2D drawings and the layout, sorry. Okay, so think of this as they're actually using this software to create their DWG files. Now within the same software, they can go directly into the 3D rendered files like you see here and here, for example. And then finally, you can see them moving through the house. And of interest, it looks like here in the bottom left and the bottom right, this looks like maybe thumb cursors where you would have your left thumb here and your right thumb here in the iPad, and you would actually be moving through this using your thumbs. So if we go a little bit to the end there, you can see, I mean, look at little cursors here, you'll see them move. So you can see that one moving here, you see this one moving. So again, that's one solution that they've offered to allow the user to walk through this. Maybe another one is that you physically hold the whole iPad and move the iPad in 360 space around yourself. I mean, that's another one. But again, I would actually go straight to these guys this Unman Interactive, I think maybe who designed the video, but check this out. This is a good place to start. And the reason I say that is maybe they actually have a means for importing DWG files as well. Okay, so you're not just creating your file in here, it gives you the ability to import something that's already been created offline, but you use this software as more of a viewing platform. So finally, so the overall objective here, I mean, this is a really sort of market research-based project, right? They're not asking you to invent a solution, right? Okay. Although if you do come up with an idea, that would be great. But what you're really doing is you're hunting and searching for existing applications out there, okay? The example I showed you is probably likely one of many, and these can range from startup companies to more small and medium enterprises, etc. There might be some stuff happening in academic labs. But again, this is really more of a market research and more of a kind of solution research project. Again, they're not asking you to invent something that doesn't already exist. And ultimately, you're going to condense that list down to about 4 or 5 solutions. And one thing I consider the user experience with viewing. Okay, so the one we saw, they're using an iPad to view it, and you could probably most likely use an iPhone as well. But maybe there's an option to use your computer browser, because more people have laptops and PCs than they do phones or iPads. But maybe there's a VR component as well, so you can play it back with a VR headset like the Oculus Quest, which I mentioned earlier. So again, it's always good just to know who your clients are. I mean, I believe this is the company that sponsored this. They're called We Manage. So it's always nice just to see what they're about. There was another company out there called We Manage. I don't know if they're different, but whoever We Manage are, you might want to just find out who they are and what they're about, etc. And that's the last slide. So I'll turn it over to you, Ravi.
All right, that's great, Stuart. So you had a really nice demo there, and you found this by. Was there any particular thing you were searching for when you found that video? Was it? It didn't look like it was off of YouTube. So what was
on
the
YouTube?
source?
Yes, it was. So it was literally, I just typed in the search terms that were recommended in the document into YouTube, and then looked on the right hand side. There's always a bunch more recommended videos that come up, and just done a quick scan and chose that one. But there's lots there. There's lots of content there.
Great. So it was off of YouTube, and you were able to find it by using the keywords. So that's good. Something new that you shared was the file extension DWG. Now, how were you introduced to this? Is it because of your work, or is it just that's the common file extension for all AutoCAD SolidWorks files? This is really for students who does not have any AutoCAD experience. How do we know of that file, and how can we learn more about the different softwares that can use that file?
Yeah, so again, I'm not an expert in DWG files, so what I learned was what I learned this morning, okay? In the past, I've been using .stl and .obj, so what we've been doing in the hospital, for example, is taking patient MRI or CT images, uploading them into a software which converts that image into a 3D kind of rendered file. And the file extension is STL or OBJ. With those type of files, you can send them to 3D printers, okay? So you can print out things like a heart or an organ, etc. Now, again, we weren't creating the images. The images were given to us by the MRI system. But if I wanted to create a 3D file or a 2D file, I would use AutoCAD, AutoFusion, SolidWorks, etc., and create that in that software. And then all you're really doing is just like a Word document. You're going to save as, comes up a different bunch of file names, different formats, and you would just choose the .dwg. If you want more info, I mean, just go to Google and just figure out a little bit more about that file type. But again, SolidWorks and AutoCAD are the industrial standards. AutoFusion, I think, is a free software package for students that you can use. It's very, very powerful. It's made by Autodesk, I believe. So there's lots of other third party. I think Google has like a 3D SketchUp program. So really, any 3D or 2D design software that offers the ability to save or export in .dwg is where you could start.
That's a good suggestion, and you ran off a couple of list items for us. Google SketchUp, AutoFusion by Autodesk, AutoCAD, and SolidWorks is what I counted. That right there was the software list. You recommended students to have a 3 to 4, or I think 4 to 5 solutions list as for the um, any guidance on, if they did not have a background in manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, or even computer science. They're business majors. We do have business majors from U of H and HCC students who are starting their freshman and sophomore years.
Mhm.
Any sources that can give them some reviews of these software that you're aware of, or any type of magazines, or any source of information that you can guide them towards that you
Yeah.
found useful?
Okay, so again, two things here. First off, that software that I told you, I do stand corrected. It's Fusion 360 is what it's called, and it's made by Autodesk.
Okay.
In regard, I mean, again, this is where Google shows its power. Okay, you want to just start putting in those search terms and seeing what software is out there, whether it's for free trial, whether you need to buy a subscription. A lot of these companies, a lot of these solutions will have videos on YouTube showing how they work, so you actually don't need to use the system yourself. But I would just immediately go into that, create an Excel file, and just start putting a list together. Company name, the product, what it can and can't do, can it support .wg, sorry, .dwg, uploading, what kind of viewing mechanisms does it allow, and then you can spend 30 minutes on that and maybe find 10 or 15 different ones. And then it will become and then when you go back to Google, you can start looking in more about the company. Again, if it's a big company, you'll find lots of articles. If you wanted to look at the market size for this, if you wanted to get into the business side of things, you could look at market reports. Those are very, very costly though. They're talking thousands of dollars, but sometimes they give you a nice abstract. They give you a synopsis and say, this market is got a CAGR value of, like 5% over whatever. So you can get, a little bit of business details from that. But yeah, I would just hit Google. Google is going to solve this for you. Again, you're not asking to invent something. This is just going out there and searching for things. There may be some scientific journals out there. I can't really see that. I mean, this is more for a consumer, maybe enterprise product where they're trying to show you how things are viewed, like walkthrough, etc. Yeah, so I would just go for Google for now.
Okay, good. You shared some of the devices. You even recommended one that was really affordable from Facebook.
Mhm.
Do you, for those who don't have those devices, how could they even emulate,
Yep.
an experience like that?
So they have things called Google Cardboard, I think it's
Ah,
called. It's literally like a cardboard box with a couple of lenses on there that you put your phone into, okay? And you put it on a specific mode, and it allows you to kind of view things in a 360 environment, okay? So it's not virtual reality. I mean, you're not completely immersed in a new environment, but it allows you to have a different viewing experience for 360 videos. Like YouTube has a YouTube VR app, I believe. It also supports 360 videos. So literally all you need is that little Google cardboard thing, for like $1 or $2. You can even build one at home if you like. You stick your phone in on the correct setting on your YouTube app, and then you can watch 360 videos. So maybe the final solution, that the product allows you to actually view this thing with your viewfinder. So you're literally, rather than using your fingers to manipulate the cursors to move, you're actually physically moving it and seeing things in a different angle.
and so I'm aware of the Google Cardboard, but I like that you said you could even make one yourself with the supply kit, lens, cardboard, cut it in a specific manner, and you have your own Google Cardboard at home. So good suggestions there. Stuart, it looks like students, as one of the deliverables, is to prepare a report or a presentation to show their findings, and really it says understand the cost for using the software, both purchase or license. Without actually having to purchase or license, any tips because they may not be able to figure out the cost by looking at a YouTube video. So what advice would you give students to find cost or licensings if the companies don't make that information very quickly available?
Yes, so you'd want to contact the company directly. Okay.
Contact.
If the information is not on their website, like subscription packages, etc., send them an email, and just keep it very short and to the point, just saying you're interested in the product, you like to learn more about their subscription, licensing costs, etc. Again, draft that email to be professional. You don't need to give them a huge, big story about what it is, etc. That person there has got maybe 2-3 seconds to quickly glance at your email. Another way that I find is easier is go on LinkedIn. Okay, so find the people that work for the company and find them on LinkedIn and shoot them a little blurb there saying, "Hey, we like your product. Can we talk?" or so. This is where social interactions come into play here. There's lots and lots of different mechanisms for doing that. Some people bite, some people don't. Again, so it's actually a good thing to go through and try that. But yeah, LinkedIn, or I'd stay away from Facebook. It's more for like family and friends. So LinkedIn, maybe Twitter if the company has a Twitter website. Given that TiE, the TiE Hackathon, TiE Global has an international reach, you could quite easily say you're currently representing the hackathon part of TiE Global, etc. We would love to use your product, So again, it's always good saying that who you're representing, whether it's yourself or like a competition you're in. I'm not saying they represent TiE Global specifically, but you can say that you're involved in the competition, etc.
Right. No, that's good advice. And actually, I think those of you who are watching this recording here, make sure if you intend to showcase a company during Saturday and Sunday, those companies may be closed. So do your work prior to the hackathon. Make sure you get some of these things on cost and price. Do your research early on if you're intending to submit for this challenge, and then make sure you're using the hackathon time really to put forward a good presentation that meets the requirements. Stuart, some questions for you. I have a few more minutes here with you, so I want to make sure. Where do you see the future of 2D and 3D world? What are you scared? Are you excited? Are you hopeful, or are you just this is going to ruin everything? What's your feel?
I'm very excited and very hopeful. The pandemic has been a game changer with VR. Everyone shifted to virtual online conferences like Zoom, Teams, etc., Google Hangouts, whatnot. But they got fatigued very quickly. So people are wanting something else. Now, what you've had is you had Facebook acquire Oculus, and like I said, they've produced the world's cheapest VR headset. In the past, if you go a couple of years ago, you're looking at about $3-4 for that setup. You need a PC, you need the base stations, you need the headset, which is usually tethered. So you have to go to the same spot again and again, right? But this is like, you just take it. I mean, I've literally got one on my table here. You just take it anywhere, you take it out, you put it on, all you need is a Wi-Fi connection, and you're in this fully immersible world. The sticking point, the bottleneck at the moment is not enough people have tried VR yet. And that's a simple fact. If you try and explain VR to someone, it's very hard. You've just got to put them in the VR world and they'll get it straight away. So I think that's what's going to happen, obviously, with Oculus Quest, is because it's a lower price point, as people's friends start getting it, they like it, they realize they can get one for themselves for less than the cost of an iPhone or an Android, etc. They get it, and it opens up a whole new realm. I mean, whatever you do in life, you can do on the Oculus platform, whether it's skiing, play football, well, soccer, football, right? Real football, basketball, baseball, etc. They have great networking engagement sessions. You can even just go to the cinema and be there watching a movie and actually have people sit next to you. It's a real visceral effect as well. You actually can feel like you're in the room with somebody. So there's a lot of cognitive things happening there as well, which are going to be gradually teased out through the research and the science over the next few years. But yeah, I'm all for it. I think, when you start bringing haptics in there, like the haptic feedback, so you can start feeling different sensations and textures, etc., then you're really going out there. And of course, everyone's seen the video or the movie Ready Player One. I think that is the ultimate. That's ideally where people want to go. Whether it gets there, who knows? But there's certainly a push in that direction.
Ready Player One. So you recommend those who haven't seen it?
I recommend reading the book or listening to the audiobook first and then watching it. But if you don't have the time for that, then you go straight into the movie.
And you said you were hopeful, so I'm asking, are you envisioning maybe patients who are bedridden now experiencing through VR? Are you hopeful from that sense, or are you hopeful that those with skills in this area are likely to find a job down the line? What are you hopeful about
Hopeful for
the space?
both. Like from a business standpoint, you have Unity, for example, that just had their IPO there last year or so. So they're a public traded company now, and Unity is one of the major softwares that are used to create virtual reality and 3D content. The other one being Unreal. But the main thing for me is like they've been using this at Houston Methodist Hospital for patients. They've been putting VR headsets on people, and they've been going out on scenic walks, actually walking around in the VR world and interacting with animals and birds and stuff. And they showed that it really did make a difference, just to be able to, I mean, even myself, we're on lockdown there last year, the ability just to put on a headset and watch Netflix in like a cabin in the mountains somewhere, it just took you out your environment for 5 minutes, and it was very refreshing. So, in the world of patient care, I mean, like I said, we're already doing it. We're looking at that. It's kind of where it's going.
That's fantastic. I just want to make sure I didn't miss it. Unity, which this first one, and the second one was Unreal, UNREL.
Yeah, UNREAL. Unity and Unreal.
Unreal.
Those are the two main software platforms for generating VR content.
Got you. So, folks, I hope you took notes here and go research these on Google to learn more about this this platform, this industry. Stuart, I think you've given us a lot of information on how you would tackle this and how you would prepare and submit for this hackathon. Any last advice for students taking part in a hackathon? Do you think it's wasted time, or do you think it could help them with make new friends or maybe a future career? What's your feel on hackathons?
So all three, it's not a waste of time at all. Like any time we're out in the real world, sourcing information, delivering something for a need is never a waste of time. I mean, it's as soon as you finish like uni or college, like that's what you're doing. So the sooner you do that, the better. And yeah, you're going to, you meet friends along the way, you meet new contacts. Again, any position that you're in where you can network and expand your sphere of influence, as to say, and your network is always a good thing. And again, they're not asking you to invent something for this, but you may find that, by understanding what's already out there, you may come up with a new idea of how this could be done better. That's when things get very interesting,
All right. Sounds like the advice of don't overthink it. Stick with the, but also, if you have extra time, be creative and submit.
If you really come up with an idea, go out and get a patent on it. File a non-provisional patent. Protect your idea, and form a startup company, and then just get about $400 million Series B funding, like some other companies out there that are doing the same thing.
Yes, and don't forget us at that point. Stuart, I want to thank you for your time and advice here. We'll stop the recording here at this time, and